want to take a photograph, what points are you going to consider? That is the question.
So considering the first picture is showing the actual, like it's showing the complete, what do you call that? What's happening in the picture, like that should be important.
What's happening in the picture? That means,
Like
are you
what?
going to? It's not a videography. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
This photograph and videograph are different techniques. In photograph, are you going to look at the event to cover the complete event? That's what you are saying, right?
No, sir.
What is
Something similar to that, but yeah. Like in the first two pictures, one is the start of the penetration, and the second picture here is it is completely shattered. The top layer is shattered.
Yeah, yeah. So that means what is happening you want to show. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, okay, fine, agreed. Any other considerations? That means photography can be. I will completely agree with this guy, because photography generally we take to show some event. That means you may take multiple photographs, don't mind, but you are going to show the event, what is happening there. Okay. So sometimes just by looking at those things, we will understand the event completely. That is the skill of the photographer. And sometimes, and sometimes we use a single photograph to convey everything. So these two things can be done. Okay. So that's the reason why. And our Navneet Mehta said that should not disturb the natural system whose pic is being taken. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is, in nature, that is the speciality. Especially the species, the minute they see that you are picturing them or you are doing something, targeting them, they will just jump out. They won't stay. So that's a problem. So that's the reason why taking photography is most important. At the same time, you should not perturb that. If they feel your perturbation, immediately they will just change the state, and that event itself you cannot capture. So that's the reason why this nation, what is that? National Geographic Channel, Discovery. If you take, they will sit far away from the events or far away from the species. And in National Geographic Channel, if they show the snake, that is rattlesnake, and they show that what are the when it open the mouth, what are there inside everything. Actually, they are capturing far away from the place. Okay, so that is the thing. So you are capturing the event. Point to be noted. So while taking a photograph, you have to cover that event happening so that the person see those photographs or person see that single photograph. uh, yes, just a minute. Shrikiran. So about the event you need to capture completely. That is a point to be noted. So photograph we will take in order to cover the event. So whether some event is covered in your photograph or not, that is up to you. Point number 2. Any others here? Vinayak Sethi said that capture the actual characteristics of the system. Yes, without disturbing it, characteristic. But here I want to ask you, what is mean by characteristic? Vinayak, what is mean by characteristic?
So maybe the functioning of that particular system, like how it behaves in a natural environment.
Okay, so without any feeling any perturbation, the system should behave in a natural way. Am I right? That you want to capture. So that is agreed. That means you have to capture the natural functionality or natural characteristic of the system. Okay, any others? What you want to cover? One is event, second is characteristics or a function. I can let us generalize it. Without disturbing it, you have to cover. Then what you are going to cover?
So
To
we
help
should also
the
cover the form,
yes, yes,
the structure, the form of that system.
yeah. So naturally, because I said function, definitely form is covered. But while covering the form, what is the real challenge you face in photography? Because you are creating a set of photographs which you are thinking are useful for a bio-inspired engineering. So that person who is using them should understand that, then he has to use them. Am I right? So what are the challenges in capturing the form?
So sometimes the form is too small to be captured easily, or too large that it doesn't fit in a frame.
No, no. If it is small or too large, when you are covering the picture or when you are capturing the picture, one thing we must remember is, are we covering complete information of the form? Complete information means, now if I show like this, you take a photograph of the hand. Okay. Then in that photograph, what you must cover, if I ask complete information of the hand, what you must cover?
The fingers
Mm.
and the wrist maybe, so that it's understandable.
Mm.
And either one side would be fine, like front side or back side.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it, sir.
That's it. Won't you cover sweat pores?
So,
Won't you cover the sweat pores here, exists here?
yeah, but then it would.
That is what I'm telling. Are you covering the complete information of system what you are seeing?
No,
So that
sir.
is where your observation will change. Okay, that is where your observation completely change. So if you want a complete information of this particular system, means you have to cover fingers, you have to cover nails, you have to cover the sweat pores, you have to cover the color, you have to cover everything related to the hand here, only here. Don't go below this one, only here. So are you able to cover what is the, suppose if I want to see how these hair follicles are, okay, so how much area is covered by hair follicles here, how sweat pores are distributed, okay, how these wrinkles are there. So this all the information related to this system, you agree or not?
Yes, sir.
You'll agree. So that is what in form, generally people think that form is easy to capture. No. So that is where high resolution cameras become handy, because are you covering the complete information of the system or complete information of the form or not? Okay. So that is where you will come to know if the system is symmetric in the sense. So this is what kind of symmetry? What is the form?
Cylindrical.
Cylindrical, right? So this form is cylindrical. In this cylindrical form, if you take one photograph, it's fine. This is symmetric because it is symmetric. But if it is asymmetric, will one photograph cover the complete form? No,
No.
it won't, right? So that is what you need to remember. So point to be noted is, when you are actually covering the form, you need to cover, are you able to cover the complete information related to that form or not? For that, how many photographs you need to take is a real question. If you are covering uh, complete information in a single photograph, that's appreciated. But in the asymmetric systems, especially when the asymmetry prevailing there, then with a single photograph you cannot cover the complete information, because if complete information is not there, you cannot ask the bio-inspired guy to get inspiration and do something. You cannot tell that. Am I right? So that fellow, what he does, okay, this complete information is not there, so I will go directly and observe. So your photography is not useful. Okay. So while covering the form, you have to remember whether your picture, whether your photograph is covering the complete information or not. If it is symmetric, few photographs can cover the complete information. If it is not symmetric, you have to take more photographs in order to cover the complete information. It is the form means you need to get the complete external information related to the system. Okay. And now here the question comes. So computer science, there is no form. That's utter rubbish. You have the form even in computer algorithms also, which you call as algorithmic structures. Okay. Because there is a flow everywhere. That algorithmic flow is called structure. Okay. So that's the reason why when you come to the physical object, you define the form. When you go to the cyber object, you define the structure. Okay. But both places you see that one. Only thing is you cannot visualize. That's okay. But every algorithm has its structure. Okay. So that is the reason why while capturing the form, in photograph you can't capture that structure or something. Just I'm saying, you should not think that there is no form or structure. Okay. So while capturing the photograph in the form, you should cover the information completely. If it is asymmetric, you should cover with more photographs. Point to be noted. So because you said function, because you said form, and somebody said event, I will cover the event, then what else remaining to cover? What else remaining to cover? Any other thoughts? What to cover while taking the photograph for bio inspiration? Yeah. Meanwhile, Praneeth said that before taking a picture, we need to observe the system and capture it while moving, climbing, or flying. Example, ostrich, glowing insects. Correct. That's a kind of event we are covering, or the functions they are performing. Am I right? We are covering. Agreed. Next.
Sir, just a question.
Yes.
Would we also consider their reaction to different situations? Like you said that we will just observe them in natural system. We won't disturb it.
That is not question for me. That is question for you.
Okay.
Can you capture? That is called behavior. Am I right?
Okay. Yeah.
How it is responding to the different situations.
Okay.
Right? That is called behavior. So can you capture behavior by using photographs?
Okay.
No, yes or no?
Sir, so in my, like, for the assignment, what I tried was, like, first I tried to capture it, but
See, don't worry. Because this I didn't discuss in the first class, because
Okay.
if I tell that everybody look at, now you captured some way, now you know your problem. Okay? So now the question is, suppose if you say even behavior we can cover by using photography, then how you cover the behavior? Or first you tell whether we can cover the behavior. Yes or no? Anybody?
Sir, we cannot cover the entire behavior, sir, but we can cover part of it, like how much fast it is moving. Like that, sir.
Yeah, up to some extent you can cover the behavior. Am I right? It's not like that the real-time behavior I can cover. Am I right?
Yes, sir. We cannot measure the height or speed in the photo.
Exactly. Because there we need to take the videography support.
Yes, sir.
Okay, photography alone won't work at all. So that's the reason why. But if you have only one camera, that camera is only can take photographs. You can actually click some instance. Those instance can reveal, yes, exactly. Vinayak Sethi said that. So we can cover the instances which are the most important instances to understand the behavior of the system. Okay, so that coverage can give you some information related to behavior. So that important photography is. So that is the reason why I gave photography, because you must have understood by this time that why photography is needed for bioinspiration. It is not only for hobby or something because nature is there, we will take a photograph. No, no, no. There you are actually having your own attitude driving your photography. You just check yourself. You go into the nature, you go into the forest, you go into somewhere where many different species are there. Okay, you go into some carnival, many different human beings are there. Okay, so your photography always reflect your attitude or the way you are thinking. But for bio inspiration, I'm not working on the artist, the artistic side of the photography. I am working on the information side of the photography. What information I am getting from that photograph. So first skill is what information I am capturing, you should be able to look. Second skill is what information I can retrieve from that you written as observation. Both are interconnected. So this point to be noted. So that is the reason why while taking a photograph, you are going to look at, am I going to cover the event? Like a different instances. Am I going to cover the behavior? Like different instances. If I am covering the form, that is form or structure, am I covering the complete information or not? Okay, with a single photograph or multiple photographs. If I'm covering the function, am I showing the complete characteristic or that particular characteristic? Different functions in a different photographs, am I able to capture? This you need to look at. So you must have understood here, in order to take a photograph, you must look at, if you are covering a form, you must cover complete information of that form. If it is the asymmetric object or asymmetric system, you must take multiple photographs in order to cover the complete information. So whether your photograph has complete information or not is up to you. Second, with your photography, in order to help the bio-inspiration person or an expert, are you actually covering different functions clearly? And in order to cover a function, how to take photograph is a real skill. Am I right? So that way, are you covering the different functions of the system? The third one is, are you covering the behavior as a different instances? Okay. So if you cover all these things from your photograph, are you able to make out what information that photograph is giving? That is the second skill that you wrote as observation. So that is the reason behind why I gave this assignment. Assignment I gave here in order to make you think in a way that, are you looking at information based photography, or you are only looking at random picturing the systems? Okay, but for bio inspiration, your photography should give meaningful information to get inspirations. Otherwise, it's very difficult. If I want to work with a snake, most of the time I cannot sit with the snake and work. Okay, this photography is most important in that particular case to to understand the snake's lifestyle, to understand the snake's functions, to understand the snake's form, to understand the snake's behavior, to understand the different events it will undergo. Okay, so that is about the photography. Hope Hemalata will correct the assignments based on these points.
Yes, sir.
So that is about the photography. So that you should have covered in your photographs, anyone. Okay, but these points should be followed, and you must remember while dealing with the photography as far as bio-inspiration is concerned. It is information-based photography, not only a kind of aesthetics or something. How much information you are getting from that photograph is most important. If you take a photograph or if you are observing a photograph, what different kinds of information you are getting from the photograph is most important. Okay, so one example is in front of you only. One example is here only. See this one. They took two photographs, but you can directly understand what is happening. Okay, so this is kind different photography you need to have to say about the event, to talk about the event, what has happened. You clearly understood that. So that is what photography mean for bio-inspiration. Okay, so hope you understand that and you remember that. Next we will move to third category, where we use nature as a mentor. Now nature as a model is over, nature as a measure is over. Now nature as a mentor is 3M model. It's like model, measure, mentor. So mentor means what? What do you think? Everything is in front of you. So generally mentoring means what? What do you think about it? Anybody?
Guide, sir. Guide.
Mentor means to teach us something, guide about something. Means what? Just a minute. Yes. So guiding means what? Maybe PhD people can tell what is meant by guiding. Will a guide do everything?
No, sir.
No. So Hemalata saying that I'm not doing anything.
No, sir, you will show the path.
So
Or any suggestions,
yeah,
correct?
yeah,
That Venkat.
true. I agree with that. So giving suggestions, showing the path. That's the right word. Guide or a mentor. Mentorship is not like he will sit with you and do everything. No, he won't. But he will show the path. If you go in this path, you will achieve something. I achieved this one. You go in this path. He will show only path. The journey and destiny is yours only. What you are going to achieve up to you. Okay, so that is why nature as a mentor, if you look at in this perspective, what you are going to look at is how nature achieved different things in it, and you are going to learn them, and because of that learning you are going to create some new applications and new technologies which may not be present in nature. Okay, so in this case nature shows only the path. So that is the reason why we said nature as a mentor. In this, what it is mentoring, I gave one example here. If you see this example, in this example, nature as a mentor, this is which company car? I wrote here. Okay. Lexus company. Okay. This Lexus company, high-end car, You see some blue color, right? This blue color is not a chemical color, like spraying or something. It's not a chemical color. It is a physical color. It's a physical color. So what is mean by physical color? And why we don't want to use any chemical color? What are the problems with chemical colors? Anybody can tell? You hope you have some idea. What are the
Harming
problems with
environment.
chemical colors? Yes, yes. Yeah, please tell.
Harming environment.
Harming environment while making the color. Am I right?
Yeah, while making and the byproducts of the chemical.
Yes, byproducts of the chemical is another problem. Environmental problem is one. Then byproducts, that is also problem for environment. Next, any other problems? Because we have always look at positive points. Okay, are there any negative points? Yes.
Sir, the pigment blue color in nature is very extremely rare. You can't find it anywhere. So,
No, no, no. My question is how in okay, some colors are not found. That variant is not available or you cannot make it. Okay, agreed. Anything else? So these points, if you note down, that would be good, because for next class, if I ask you something, if you put a question mark face, because here my disadvantage is I can't say everyone to switch on the camera. Otherwise, in class, without seeing your face, I don't want to teach anything. But this is a bad time, so I can't see even. At least I'm seeing my face. Okay, so it's okay. You please tell what are the other disadvantages with the chemical paint? Any other disadvantage?
Chemicals involved in that could be highly toxic to our like skin
Yeah,
and
toxic to
eyes
the users, right?
users.
Yeah, toxic to users. So that is the other end where we are more worried about. Okay, so it is not environment we are considering. While painting, or if you paint in the house, if you paint, you see that aromatic smell. But when you are actually smelling that, it will be very good sometimes. But actually, that aromatic smell is toxic. It is not good. So, and it has a huge environmental effects. Pigment manufacturing is a one problem, and color this emulsion preparation is another problem. You have too many byproducts and too many emissions to the environment. A lot of problem is there. Okay, let's not worry about the problem. But whether the nature using only chemical color, are there any other ways to form a color? So that is where nature has shown a path. Nature has shown that I am also creating color. Color means what? What is mean by color? If something is appearing in blue means what? The basic optics you may know, the 10th class stuff. If it is in blue color means what?
sir, either the light reflected by that surface would be of the wavelength which is closer to the blue shade,
Hmm.
or it may have the chemical actual blue color.
No, no, correct. What you are said is right. Who is this person? Pixel value is high. No, Vinayak, it's not pixel value. Okay. No, something is appearing in some color means there is a reflection from that body. All other colors are absorbed, only that color is getting reflected. That is the reason why you are able to see that object in that particular color. This is the meaning, the just fundamental understanding of color. Okay, but if you see, nature followed the same phenomena without using a chemical color or emulsion. It uses the chemical color. I don't say it never used the pigment because the concept of pigment came from nature only. But in order to create the artificial pigment, it is very problematic and not good for health as well as the environment. So that's the reason why if you see nature following the second approach, what is that second approach? The second approach is nature forms or arrange different particles in a particular pattern in such a way that particular wavelength get reflected. Okay, if you change the parameters of this arrangement, different lights and different wavelengths get reflected. So that is the way nature has the second approach, or nature has the second advantage to create colors based on the fundamental understanding of the color. Color means nothing but the wavelength which is reflecting from the surface. Color means nothing but the light which is reflecting from the surface will appear like a color of that object. This is the fundamental understanding. So based on that, what light does is, what nature does is, nature forms a layer of nicely arranged particles, maybe nanoparticles or submicron particles. These nicely arranged particles will reflect a particular wavelength. Okay, so that wavelength will appear as a color of the system. You may ask, can that be reproducible? Yes, that is reproducible. That is what these fellows in Lexus did. Complete color, what you see here is the physical color, that is arrangement of particles. They made into a thin film arrangement of particles, and though that is the physical color first in the world they used. And what is the major advantage you see here over the chemical color? Any idea or any guess? What is the major advantage?
Sir,
More
maybe
hues,
the
Anyone? Yes, CED 39.
more hues, different shades. We can easily get those shades.
Yes, different shades which are not different shades in the sense different colors which are not possible with the pigmentation, or which are not possible in chemical coloring, are possible just by varying the particle size and separation. So that is one advantage we have. Any other advantage you see? EVD 9.
So the pigment colors may fade off after certain particular time, and while the spectral colors that we have, the physical colors, they are practically infinite.
So with respect to time, they may fade off. Okay, so that is one advantage definitely. So it is going to be long lasting unless you scratch it. Okay, if you scratch, the particles may take off the surface, and that may happen in both cases. But if you don't disturb it, the lasting will be very that means comparatively high to that of the chemical color. That is one advantage. Any other advantage you see? Any others? So that is actually created by nature. So nature has a other approach or other way in order to create the color. That is what we understood from the nature. But nature didn't say this is the color, this is the particle arrangement, and this is something you have to do. It didn't tell anything. It has shown that by using the particle arrangement approach, you can actually create colors. That's it. So with that, we can create many number of colors, many variants of colors, and especially this kind of blue, they call it as it has some astronomical significance. That color cannot be reproduced. That color cannot be made by using the chemical color. Okay, so that color these people observed in that nebulas. So that color they could do with by using this natural approach of physical coloring. Okay, so this is the way nature is going to mentor us. It is going to show the way for different technologies. Okay, once it is show the way for different technologies, now that concept of coloring became in everywhere. That is, they are going to use it in optical communications also. They are going to use the concept of photonic crystal. We call that as photonic crystal. That photonic crystal will be used in quantum computing also. That is optical communication also. So that is the reason why how you are going to use is up to you. I will only show the way in order to produce different colors. So that is the reason why we are saying that the third perspective is to understand nature as a mentor. From that understanding, we create different technologies which are not available in nature. Because for tree, nature didn't create this color. Point to be noted. For leaf, nature is using pigment only. Okay, so that is the reason why. So nature as a mentor means in nature we are going to observe something that we observe as a phenomena, observe as a fact, then that we are going to use in order to create new technologies which may not occur in the nature. Okay, so that is about the three perspectives in which we can uh, we can use nature, or we can look at nature. Okay, so today's class what we covered is what are the fundamental aspects we should cover in photography, especially the photographs if you want to use for bio inspiration. That primary skill you must have. So what are the different things you need to cover? This photography is information based photography. That means your photo must give information, thorough information and good information related to the event happening there, the behavior of the system, the functions of the system, the form of the system. In these cases, your photograph must give the complete information of that particular thing. Otherwise, your photograph is not, for bio inspiration, you should not take photographs randomly. Point to be noted. Because in front of you, there are too many photographs here. So these are all photographs not taken randomly. The photographs taken in order to show some information which is useful for that purpose of inspiration. Okay, so these are all the physical colors in nature. You can see the peacock feather, these things. Okay, so photography we discussed. You know now, if you take a photograph for bio inspiration, what you need to cover and how you need to look at. Okay, that is over. Now last class and this class we discussed three different perspectives of nature in which we have to look and explore the nature. First perspective is nature as a
Model.
model. So nature as a model. Second perspective is nature as a
Nature as
Measure.
measure.
measure. Third perspective is nature as a mentor, right? So in the first perspective, what we look at is, if you have a problem, you look at whether the similar problem or the similar system exists in nature or not. If it exists, you look at whether that particular system solving this problem or not. If it is solving, then how it is solving you are going to understand. Then same knowledge you are going to use to solve your problem also. Okay, that means similar problem or similar system should exist in the nature. So that is where we call it as nature as a model. Then nature as a measure. You are going to compare your problem, or you are going to compare your quantity with the natural systems or natural phenomena. Then you are going to decide what is the benchmark, what is the threshold. So based on how nature achieved this benchmark, so if nature achieved a greater benchmark, how it achieved, you are going to study it and you are going to use that understanding for your application. Okay, so nature as a measure. Next, nature as a model, as I explained you. nature is going to show only a path for a particular problem. So that you need to observe, and you can create technologies based on that understanding, which may not be available in the nature. So in this case, nature particularly won't say anything. Nature particularly won't emphasize on anything. It will actually having an approach to create a color, but that you can use for anything. That knowledge or understanding you can use for anything to create any technology. Okay, so that is where we call it as nature as a mentor. So please remember, you have to look at nature with these perspectives. At the at least initial stage, you must look at these perspectives. So when you look at something, you have to think whether I can use it as a model, whether I can use it as a measure, whether I can use it as a mentor. Okay, so that is what the three different perspectives you must look at the nature with. Okay, so that is about the today's class. So Himlat, yes ma'am, your attendance is over.
Yes, sir. Over, sir.
Yeah, so if attendance is over, you can ask any questions.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how can we capture the internal things happening? Like,
No, in this case, internal things we are not at all capturing. Internal things means again dissecting is needed.
Okay.
Right. So internal things we are not capturing. That's what somebody said. We should not disturb the particular system.
Sir, but the internal actions may also can be useful for us to.
Yes. In that case, with permissions, all those things, we have to take photographs.
Sir, like I'm talking about, like, sir, in plants, because of the surface tension, the plant absorb water to to the top of the tree, like such kind of things.
No, for that also we must have some technology which will not disturb its state. Okay. Whatever you are saying, because of the tension, it is absorbing water, right? That they are imaging by using these X-rays, all those things, which will not harm the tree. X-rays means they won't keep all the time. So that kind of imaging techniques they are using in order to capture what is happening in the tree. So those are actually non-invasive. They are not killing.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that kind of techniques you can use and image, no problem. Now, do you know about terahertz rays? Electronics people.
No idea.
Terahertz rays, one category is there, because you know visible, you know UV, you know infrared. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
But there are one category above infrared called terahertz rays.
Okay.
And below microwaves, above infrared. Okay, in between it is. These terahertz rays even can penetrate through these clocks, everything. Okay, so in order to look at or scan me, you need not to actually do anything. You can stay away and actually scan completely. Okay, so that is one kind of technology now they are using in order to understand plants. Terahertz rays.
Okay, sir.
Okay, electronics people, that will come in communication, hopefully. Okay, so that is the thing. Microwaves you know already, but terahertz rays also they are using in order to understand these biological systems through imaging.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so that is the way we have to observe. Any other questions? Any questions you can ask now. So again, my request is those who are genuinely interested, because I think last class also 80 people attended. Mahema, we have to see if they absent for continuously 4 classes. Let us remove them.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, if there are no questions, let us meet tomorrow and we will discuss about different levels of bio inspiration tomorrow. Okay.